So today we're going to be replacing the fuel pump. This is the used fuel pump that came out of the fuel tank, and I showed you in the other video how to get the fuel tank out of the car, and then you remove the fuel pump from it. And so the actual fuel pump itself is this unit right here, and we have a filter unit on the front here. It's called the filter sock, and that filters the fuel of any sort of particulate so it doesn't get clogged in the system. And then we have the fuel lines and also the electrical connections to power the fuel pump, because this is an electrical pump. So to first disassemble this, what we have to do is disconnect the wires. So there's two wires, a ground and a power. So we just have to remove the nuts and then disconnect the wires. And then this fuel pump will be pulled out and we'll disconnect it from the fuel line right here. And then what we'll be doing is putting a new fuel pump in. So if you can, go for OEM part, Denso. And you can see here, new filter sock. You can see the color difference there, 24-year-old and brand new. And then we have new fuel pump, and also supporting equipment, new hose, stuff like that. So we'll be putting that in after we remove the fuel pump. And what we'll be doing here is following the instructions in the big green book on first, how to remove it. And then let's just take a look here. Moving the filter sock, taking out the actual pump itself, and then putting back the new one in, connecting up all the connections, and then putting back the whole unit here back into the fuel tank. So we'll show you all that right now. So we got the fuel pump out. You can see we had to disconnect the two connections here, pull off the fuel line. It was a little bit harder than I anticipated because you had to get sort of in there with a socket, a very small socket as well, and get these little nuts off. One other thing here is make sure you don't damage the electrical connections. So I see here this one has a split in the plastic, and I don't want that to degrade over time. You can see the metal wires there. I don't want them to keep bending and breaking. So I'm going to put a new heat shrink wrap around it while I have it out, and just using a heat gun, just going to shrink that plastic around here to protect that connection. This one you can see has one still intact. This one didn't come with one. So I'll be doing that now, because otherwise if the fuel pump fails while it's in there, I have to remove the entire thing again, and that'll take fucking forever. So let's do this now. So we're assembling the new pump now, and all we had to do was put the filter sock on. So you just push it in, and then you hold it in place with a collar clip, it's called. It comes with, the new pack comes with one. You push that on, this thing's good to go now. On the other end, you just have to remove the dust cap and then put the new hose on. I had to cut it down a little bit, so just compare it to your old one, the length, and cut it down to size, and then put the new one on, and put the new hose retainers on. And now we're going to connect it back up, and we're done. You can put it back in the fuel tank. Easy as that. Alright, so we have the new fuel pump installed. Just one thing to quickly note, the two nuts here are actually different size. That helps you remember which wire goes where. So one is 8mm and one's 7mm, so they actually don't fit on each other. So you can remember which wire goes where on the fuel pump. So just connect everything up the way you disconnected it, and you can put it back in the fuel tank right now. Easy as that.